once again. So
Okay.
it's just the way it is. But glad to be here. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay.
I tell you what. I just parked. I'll do the kirtan.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajagacharya Astotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajagacharya Astotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sekaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Girigivardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Gangamayi Ki Jai, Yamunamayi Ki Jai, Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Srimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande, Haribo.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Monday, September 29th, 2025. Today we're starting with 4:22:17. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Guru Maharaj, would you like to read?
Maitreya Vacha. Utostat suktama karnya saram shushtu mitam batu mayamana iva pritya kumara pratyuvachaha. The great sage Maitreya continued, thus Sanat Kumar, the best of the celibates, after hearing the speech of Prithu Maharaj, which was meaningful, appropriate, full of precise words and very sweet to hear, smiled with full satisfaction and began to speak as follows. Purport. Prithu Maharaj's talks before the Kumars were very laudable because of so many qualifications. A speech should be composed of selected words, very sweet to hear, and appropriate to the situation. Such speech is called meaningful. All these good qualifications are present in Prithu Maharaj's speech because he is a perfect devotee. It is said, Yas yasti bhaktir bhagavat chakinchana sravayar gunais tatra samasate suraha. For one who has unflinching devotional faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is engaged in his service, all good qualities become manifest in his person. Thus, the Kumars were very much pleased, and Sunat Kumar began to speak as follows. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Sri Guru Sri Jatapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamstra Sri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Pradijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamstra He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Ori Priye Vanshako Pitarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Vivashadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The characteristics of Prithu Maharaj's speech are mentioned here. Saram, very substantial. Shushtu, appropriate. And mittam means concise. No words wasted. It's a rambling speech, talkative chatter. That's not what we find here. The speech should be concise. That's a virtue. Mittam and madhu, very sweet to hear. When the speaker's words are sweet, then it's very much appreciated. I've mentioned several times Indradumna Maharaj is my example. His speech is always so sweet to hear. So hearing this speech, the Kumars were, and Sunat Kumar particularly is mentioned here, very much appreciated the talk and with satisfaction smiled. Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Okay. For our next text, Saraswati Mashi, are you available?
Can I go next? I'm just finishing something here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll read the next one. Sanat Kumar Vacha, Sadhu Prishtam Maharaja, Sarvabhuta Hitatmana, Bhavata Vidusha Chapi, Sadhunam Matir Idrishi. Sanat Kumar said, "My dear King Prithu, I am very nicely questioned by you. Such questions are beneficial for all living entities, especially because they're raised by you, who are always thinking of the good of others. Although you know everything, you ask such questions because that is the behavior of saintly persons. Such intelligence is befitting your position." Purport: Maharaj Prithu was well conversant in transcendental science, yet he presented himself before the Kumars as one ignorant of it. The idea is that even if a person is very exalted and knows everything, before his superior, he should present questions. For instance, although Arjuna knew all the transcendental science, he questioned Krishna as if he did not know. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj knew everything, but he presented himself before the Kumars as if he did not know anything. The idea is that questions by exalted persons put before the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees are meant for the benefit of the general people. Therefore, sometimes great personalities put themselves in that position and inquire from a higher authority because they're always thinking of the benefit of others. What is that? Sadhu Prishtoham Tam Loka Itam Yapa Atmavid Samata Pumsa Shrutivadi Ishu Yat Parahat. In the first canto, the same thing, that your questions are glorious because you've asked about Krishna. So such questions are approved by great authorities. Atmavid Samata Pumsa. So here also, same thing. Sadhu, very good. Your questions, you've questioned very nicely. Sarvabhuta Hitatmana, because you're always thinking of the welfare of others. We read earlier that as a king, Prithu Maharaj was always thinking of the welfare of his citizens. And here the same mentality, thinking of the welfare of all living beings. So the questions were put with that in mind. What questions and answers will be beneficial for others to hear? Sarvabhuta Hita means welfare, benefit. Lokanam Hitakarim. Goswamis were always acting for the benefit of Lokanam, people in general. Bhavata Vidusha Cha Api. Although you do know everything, you're very intelligently asking for the benefit of others. And Prabhupada gives examples, as an example, that Arjuna is asking for the benefit of others. Okay. Hare Krishna.
We have something in the chat. Parim Prabhu.
Muniya Sadhuprishtoham. He's provided the words. That there's a bit of editorial history, by the way, that that became that verse, Muniya Sadhuprishtoham, became the impetus for the so-called rascal editors conversation, because in the word for word, it read Muniya, of the sages, and that was an editorial error. It's supposed to be "oh, the sages." So Prabhupada, what is that? He challenged it, and then the devotees present thought that Prabhupada was objecting to sadhu, which said this is relevant. So they thought that was a mistake, because they knew that a sadhu is a saintly person. So there was some misunderstanding. Actually, Prabhupada was objecting to the word for word meaning of Muniya, but they thought that it was sadhu that had been misunderstood. In any case, that discussion arose, and we won't get into the content of the discussion here. It's not relevant to our present circumstances, present discussion. There's a question in the chat.
Yes. Parim Prabhu writes, what about questions which go like, I am asking this question not for myself, but for the sake of others, and my question is ... How appropriate is this beginning of a question?
Excuse me? Oh, yeah, just the beginning. Not wrong. Not wrong. Suppose someone's been asking me a question, and perhaps I don't know the answer to the question, or there's a controversy about the question. I think I know the answer, but they don't think I know the answer. So that may be relevant. Somebody has raised a question, I've given an answer, they don't believe my answer. So I put it to a higher authority. And it's not my question, it's their question. So that may not be wrong. But we wouldn't want to falsely put it as somebody else's question. I don't have this question, although I really do, but I'm asking for the sake of such and such others. That's not quite straightforward. I'm beyond any misunderstandings, but just for the benefit of somebody else, I'm asking. But really, I have the same question. We see the opposite in Prithu Maharaj. He doesn't have doubts, but he's asking for the benefit of others, and including himself as being in need of enlightenment. That's what we see in the behavior of devotees. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that these good qualities of the devotee come automatically. Yes, Bhakti Bhagavatam Kinshana. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, I have a follow-up. So devotees like Maharaj Prithu, they know everything about transcendental science, so they'll know what they're asking for, but do they genuinely feel that they don't know?
They may. They may. Yes, they may, certainly. Here, it's not Prithumarj who says, well, I know everything, but if you could answer this question. He presents himself as ignorant. And then it's Sanat Kumar who says, no, you're not ignorant. You know everything, Vidusha. But the devotee may sincerely feel that he, what do I know? Especially in the presence of such a superior person. How much can I understand? And in such questions, there's always, or the answers to such questions, there's always fresh understanding. So even a person who knows everything may still be eager to ask to get a deeper understanding. Or he may think, I don't really understand this. I have some book learning, some formal understanding, but I'm keen to hear what a realized person like Sanat Kumar might say. Hare Krishna.
Madhupati Prabhu, do you read? We just read text 18 of chapter 22. So now we're on text 19 of chapter 22.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Gurutahas Jayadvaita Swami Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasha Deshatharine. Verse 19. Sangama khalu sadhunam ubhayesham cha sammataha yad sambhashana samprashna sarvesham vitanoti sham. When there is a congregation of devotees, the discussions, questions and answers become conclusive to both the speaker and the audience. Such a meeting is beneficial for everyone's real happiness. Purport. Hearing discussions among the devotees is the only means to receive the powerful message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For instance, Bhagavad Gita has been well known all over the world for a very long time, especially in the Western world. But because the subject matter was not discussed by devotees, there was no effect. Not a single person in the West became Krishna conscious before the Krishna consciousness movement was founded. But when the same Bhagavad Gita was presented as it is through the disciplic succession, the effect of spiritual realization was immediately manifested. Sanat Kumar, one of the Kumaras, informed Pithu Maharaj that his meeting with the Kumaras benefited not only Maharaj Pithu, but the Kumaras as well. When Narad Muni questioned Lord Brahma about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Brahma thanked Narad Muni for giving him a chance to speak about the Supreme Lord. Therefore, questions put by a saintly person to another saintly person about the Supreme Personality of Godhead or about the ultimate goal of life surcharge everything spiritually. Whoever takes advantage of such discussions is benefited both in this life and in the next. The word Ubhayesham can be described in many ways. Generally, there are two classes of men, the materialist and the transcendentalist. By hearing discussions between devotees, both the materialist and transcendentalist are benefited. The materialist is benefited by association with devotees because his life then becomes regulated, so that his chance of becoming a devotee or making the present life successful for understanding the real position of the living entity is increased. When one takes advantage of this opportunity, he is assured of a human form of life in the next birth, or he may be liberated completely and go back home, back to Godhead. The conclusion is that if one participates in a discussion of devotees, he is both materially and spiritually benefited. The speaker and the audience are both benefited, and the karmis and jnanis are benefited. The discussion of spiritual matters amongst devotees is beneficial for everyone without exception. Consequently, the Kumaras admitted that not only was the king benefited by such a meeting, but the Kumaras were as well. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Here we see the Kumaras, especially Sanat Kumar, representing the Kumaras, meeting Pitu Maharaj. They express their satisfaction that since Pitu Maharaj is meeting them and at the same time is asking this question, the discussion which will happen between Pitu Maharaj and the Kumaras will benefit not only the king, but all the assembled Vaishnavas as well as those who will hear about it in the future, like us, will also benefit from it. So, in discussion on spiritual subject matters, not only the materialist, but both the materialist and the transcendentalist gets benefited. The materialist gets from the discussion, gets inspiration to follow regulated devotional service, the sadhana bhakti, and may become more serious. May a single point pierce their heart and remove the ignorance within their heart. Remove the ignorance within the heart. Right. While the transcendentalists will also benefit because they're discussing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. So when they discuss about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, both the speaker as well as both the inquirer as well as the person who is answering it benefit. We see even when Srimad Bhagavatam was discussed initially in the assembly of Sukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, all the sages were present there. Narad Muni, Vyasdev, everybody was present in that assembly. And same way we see when further this discussion happened between Sutta Goswami and all the sages present in Naimisharanya. That discussion also ultimately benefited everybody. Srimad Bhagavatam and any topics about the Supreme Personality of God, it benefits everybody. Yeah, that's all I have.
Guru Maharaj, do you have any comments?
There's a comment by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. O King, just as you desire our association, we desire your association. The association of two parties of men meeting together is desirable, sammataha. It spreads benefit to all, the hearers and the speakers. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Looking in the chat. Nothing in the chat. Saraswati Machi, are you available now?
Yes, pranams Param Pujya Gurudev and all the Vaishnavas. Text 20. Asti eva rajan bhavato madhudvesha padaravindasya gunanavadena rati durapa vido noti naishtaki kamam kasyam malam antar atmanaha. Translation. Sanat Kumar continued, My dear king, you already have an inclination to glorify the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such attachment is very difficult to achieve, but when one has attained such unflinching faith in the Lord, it automatically cleanses lusty desires from the core of the heart. Purport. Satam prashangan mama virya samvido bhavantirit karna rasyanaha kataha tajyasana dashva aparvarga vartmani shraddharatir bhaktir anukramishyati. Bhagavatam 3.25.25. By association with devotees, dirty things within the heart of a materialistic man are gradually washed away by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As silver becomes shiny by being polished, the heart of a materialistic person is cleansed of lusty desires by the good association of devotees. Actually, the living being has no connection with this material enjoyment, nor with lusty desires. He is simply imagining or dreaming while asleep. But by the association of pure devotees, he is awakened, and immediately the spirit soul is situated in his own glory by understanding his constitutional position as the eternal servant of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj was already a self-realized soul. Therefore, he had a natural inclination to glorify the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Kumaras assured him that there was no chance of his falling victim to the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. In other words, the process of hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord is the only means to clarify the heart of material contamination. By the process of karma, jnana, and yoga, no one will succeed in driving away contamination from the heart. But once a person takes to the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord by devotional service, automatically all dirty things in the heart are removed without difficulty. Om Jnanantimirindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So I came across a verse today where it talked about this association with pure devotees. For even half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. And we know in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shishtikam, he says, Chaitano Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagani Nirvapanam. By cleansing the heart of all the dirty anarthas, the dirty contaminations, can one start to understand their eternal position as the loving servant of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada compares this to how a silver piece that has become, it's no longer shiny, it's matted. So by giving it a good old polish, it will shine very brightly. And Srila Prabhupada talks of how the conditional soul really has no business even being in the material world with the goal of trying to enjoy the Lord's external energy. And Srila Prabhupada comments how really this is all simply a case of hallucinating and imagining that all these things are really, really happening, and that all these senses that drive us to becoming attracted and attached to different objects for personal sense gratification, all of that is simply a hallucination, but one that's actually trapped in the illusion. It's very hard for them to then objectively see this and understand that it's not reality. When you're actually within the grips of illusion, it's next to impossible to try and figure your way and understand what reality could be and how to get to reality. So it's only by association with pure devotees that that you can attain bhakti. In fact, it says the root cause of bhakti is association with devotees. Even if the dormant love for Krishna is awakened, you still need sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha, sarva shastra kahe, lava matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoye. One can attain all perfections only by associating with pure devotees, starting from Shravanam and Kirtanam, giving oral reception to the transcendental words that emanate from the lips of pure devotees who have realized the actual truth. And Srila Prabhupada talks of how it's only through this process alone, hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord and the glories of his devotees, that one can start to eliminate all these different material contaminations that have taken root within the heart of a conditional soul. And no other process, whether you're looking at karmis or jnanis or yogis, none of this can guarantee you that you can once and for all eliminate all the anarthas from the heart and become situated in pure devotional service. So I was actually reading something, and I always outline things that sort of really stand out to me. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada says, when a living entity, there's only two choices for a jiva tattva, whether they are going to go under the supervision of Maya or whether they're going to go under the protection of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says the living entity's position is to be under the protection, whether they're under the protection of the illusory energy or under Krishna's personal protection. When a living entity is fully surrendered, he is under the direct protection of Krishna, and Krishna gives him all the intelligence by which he can advance in spiritual realization. The non-devotee, however, being under the protection of the illusory energy, increasingly forgets his relationship with Krishna. Sometimes it is asked how Krishna causes one to forget. Krishna personally causes his devotee to forget material activities, and through the agency of Maya, Krishna causes the non-devotee to forget his devotional service to the Lord. This is called apohana. So it's only the only saving grace for fallen souls, to put it in a nutshell, is to take shelter within the association of devotees and awaken one's Krishna consciousness and continue to cultivate Krishna consciousness and keep on bhajana kriya, keep on performing and engaging in devotional service so that one can gradually eliminate all the anarthas. That's one of the stages, anartha nivritti. And then, of course, nishta, where you gain steadiness in devotional service. You can't be drawn away from bhakti at that point. And ruchi, you get that real taste for engaging in Krishna service. And ashakti, this is a very fixed attachment to Krishna. Of course, then bhava, the preliminary stage before Krishna prema. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, do you have anything?
Very nice. Astyeva Rajan Bhavato Madhut Pisha Padarvindasya gunanuvadane ratir durapa. It's very difficult to get this asset of Padarvindasya gunanuvadane rati, attachment to glorifying the personality of Godhead. We have a taste for repeating what we've read in a newspaper or some discussion of ordinary topics that comes naturally for the conditioned souls. Some village topics, Gramya Katha. But this is so fortunate and very difficult to gain this eagerness to glorify the personality of Godhead. This is the proper use of the tongue and the intelligence to glorify Krishna. So the sages are so pleased. Sanat Kumar is so pleased that this is the real thing. The question leads to this, these topics of the Lord, which vidhunoti, cleanse the heart of lusty desires. Antaratmana, the core of the heart. Sometimes antaratmana is the subtle body as well as the gross body. Here, Prabhupada, the core of the core of the heart, antaratmana. Within the core of the heart, these lusty desires lurk. Indriyani manobudhir asyadishtanam uchate. The senses are contaminated, the mind is contaminated, intelligence is contaminated by the desire for material enjoyment. But the very core of the heart can be purified by this glorification of Krishna. Therefore, this is the quality that we find in a pure devotee. Namagana Sadaruchi, very eager to glorify the Lord. There's also, I think, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you ask what is beneficial for yourself, but you already have what is most beneficial. Fixed attachment to the Lord. Lust is like a mineral dye, kashayam, which cannot be removed. But attachment to chanting the Lord's qualities removes that dye completely. Since you have that attachment, contamination is impossible in you. If one is attached to glorifying the Lord, then the heart will remain pure, and there'll be no question of material contamination. Therefore, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, when there was, and Prabhupada's direction to us, when he would see that there, in temples, there'd be arguments or needless controversies or what have you, that would be Prabhupada's comment, that they should just have kirtan, and if there would be sufficient for profuse chanting and hearing, then these problems go away, because they're just produced from superficial, what should we say, contamination, superficial contamination, as we were hearing. These things are all superficial. That I'm this body, that my senses need to be gratified, so many things. So many controversies of this material world are produced just from illusion. So if we chant the glories of the Lord, then we're on the transcendental platform. We're no longer on the platform of ordinary, mundane topics and mundane thought around the spiritual platform.
We have something in the chat. Praveen Babu writes, Vasudeva Kata Prashna Purusham Srin Punatihi Bhaktaram Prachakam Shrotrams Tat Pada Salilam Yata. Ganges emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listen. We have a hand, Saraswati.
I was just wanting to share that there have been times when you haven't proactively looking to, glorify Krishna or give Krishna consciousness to someone, in the sense that you might be like, well, what I'm really relating to is I was on a long distance flight. It was red eye, and my whole plan was that, well, I'm just going to try and take some rest and do some reading. And before I knew it, there was a lady who came and sat next to me, and she's like, oh, I love that cover. What's that? It's a beautiful book cover. What's that about? And before I knew it, 8 hours, I was talking to her about Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. And she was very interested about Srila Prabhupada and how he managed to set up all these ISKCON centers all over the world, and came with practically nothing at such an advanced age. And for 8 hours, she couldn't get enough of it. And then she was a diplomat, she was a retired diplomat. I don't know what exact position, but she was a foreign diplomat for the British government. And then towards the end, she had these tears in her eyes, and she said, everything I've heard, it's bringing tears. Like, she was trying to wipe away her tears and not, in a public place. She said, I don't know, it's so moving, everything you've talked about, Srila Prabhupada. Of course, then I went and forgot my e-reader that inside the pocket of the flight. And when I got out, I was so upset because I was thinking, I've lost my e-reader. There's zero chance of anyone turning something like that in. And but then my daughter said, why don't you just apply lost and found, whatever. Well, Krishna, he just does these things that just amaze me. 2 days later, I got a call from the flight company, and they said, somebody turned it in and they would like to speak with you. They found your e-reader and would like to hand it over in person. So I went to the airport, and then the person who cleans the planes or whatever, who found it, and he wanted to personally give it to me. And he said, you know what? Most of the time, we just keep it. We don't hand it over. I mean, it's an electronic device. But he said, when I opened it up, the first page was Bhagavad Gita with Krishna and Arjuna on that. I knew this was important to you. He was a Caucasian person, and it's not like, he knew anything about Bhagavad Gita, but he said, I could tell this was important to you. And so I want to personally give it to you. And can you tell me a little bit about what this picture is? So sometimes you're not even proactively looking to talk to somebody about Krishna, but Krishna creates these opportunities. And I'm so grateful that he creates these situations in which you can say something about Srila Prabhupada or Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay, text 21. Venkatesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll just open the text. Okay. Shastreshu iyan eva sunishchito nrinam shemasya Sadvyag Vimrisheshu Hetu Asanga Atma Vyatirikta Atmani Hridarati Ramani Nirguneshaya. Translation. It has been conclusively decided in the scriptures after due consideration that ultimate goal for the welfare of human society is detachment from the bodily concept of life and increased and steadfast attachment for the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental, beyond the modes of materialization. Purport. Everyone in the human society is engaged for the ultimate benefit of life, but persons who are in bodily conception cannot achieve the ultimate goal, nor can they understand what it is. The ultimate goal of life is described in Bhagavad Gita 259, Param Drishta Nivartane. When one finds out the supreme goal of life, he naturally becomes detached from bodily concept. Here in this verse, the indication is that one has to steadfastly increase attachment for the transcendence, Brahmani, as confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Without inquiry about the supreme or the transcendence, one cannot give up attachment for this material world. By the evolutionary process in 8,400,000 species of life, one cannot understand the ultimate goal of life, because in all those species of life, the bodily conception is very prominent. Atato Brahma Jigyasa means that in order to get out of the bodily conception, one has to increase attachment or inquiry about Brahman. Then he can be situated in the transcendental devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. To increase attachment for Brahman means to engage in devotional service. Those who are attached to the impersonal form of the Brahman cannot remain attached for very long. Impersonalists, after rejecting this world as mithya or false, Jagan Mithya, come down again to this Jagan Mithya, although they take sannyas to increase their attachment for Brahman. Similarly, many yogis who are attached to the Lokitas aspect of Brahman as Parabrahma, great sages like Vishwamitra, also fall down as victims of women. Therefore, increased attachment for Supreme Godhead is advised in all Shastras. That is the only way of detachment from the material existence, and is explained in Bhagavad Gita 259 as Param Drishva Nivartane. One can see material activities when he actually has the taste for devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended love of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life, Prem Pramartha Mahan. Without increasing love of Godhead, one cannot achieve the perfectional stage of the transcendental position. Since there is lack of very less time, maybe we can directly hear from Maharaj. Maharaj can kindly speak.
Brahmaj, do you have any?
Yeah, Jadharati Brahmani Nirgune Achaya. One is attached to, the greatest benefit is to be detached from matter and the bodily concept of life and be attached to Nirguna Brahma. So that the Mayavadis can say, it's just see, the goal of life is to be attached to Nirguna Brahma, the impersonal absolute truth. But the Vaishnavas always point out that Krishna is Nirgun because he has no material qualities. What is that? Brahmanishkala Chinchaguna Swarupam. The Krishna has Chinchagunas, transcendental qualities. So, and Prabhupada points out here, that Brahmani ultimately means to Krishna. And to have rati, to have attachment to the impersonal Brahman, is unnatural and very difficult. But to be attached to Krishna is our real business. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, therefore I must answer your question. Hear the cause of benefit. Many scriptures have been reviewed so that there can be no opposition to the conclusion. Scriptures not thoroughly examined will be opposed by someone or other. Yan eva means that the final conclusion has definitely been reached, and one need not again review many scriptures for this purpose. Yeah. Asanga means detachment, and dridharati, firm attachment. Benefit means merging in Brahma, Shantarati, and Prema, according to one's qualification. So it can be taken as merging in Brahma, that's also, but for the more qualified, for the pure devotees, to merge in discussion of the transcendental qualities of the personality of God. All right, Hare Krishna.
Okay, time for Kirtan. Krishna Konteya Prabhu, are you available?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nita Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Mama Vishnu Buddha Krishna Vistaya Bhutale, Srimati Jai Jai Jai, Kumarajiti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharne, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi, Pasacha Deshachane, Jai Shri Guru Engaranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande,
Hari
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jaya.
Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhu's